Welcome everyone to Zoom number 2 of 5. Tonight we are talking about alchemy of the body and mind with Gabriele Liesenfeld and Bryers. As you can tell, right now it's the evening here in New Zealand, and it's been rather a hot day in many places around the place. And for those of you who are joining us from the Northern Hemisphere, we welcome you all, and we hope to see you to the class that's going to be happening in just under 6 weeks that we're having here in the very beautiful part of the South Island of New Zealand, in a place called Tasman, and right on this beautiful Kenner Peninsula. So tonight, as part of that, we're going to be talking about alchemy of the body and also alchemy of the mind. So Greg and Gabby, over to you.
Cool.
You start, Greg.
Me? I always start. No. Okay, so welcome. And really this has been a class that's been evolving. It's been evolving over the last 2 years, and it's still evolving and still growing. The classes that we do are quite freeform. There is one class where we've created a manual, and there's another one that we're creating a manual for, but you don't get it till you're finished and you're ready to piss off. Okay? Because it's not about, for me, it's about really, what are the questions that you bring to the class? What is it about? It's not a structure, there's no form. This is about you bringing you and asking, what is it you want to let go of? What is it you want to change? What is it you want to be? Blah, blah, blah. And for me, with the body, I mean, some of you have known me for a long time. Some of you haven't known me at all. But my body's changed. My health's changed. The way I be has changed. And that's all because of choices. And it's all because of possibilities that I've discovered and have received or let go of old shit. And this is how the class originally started, was Gabriele said, so what is it that you be, and can you teach that?
And I want to add, our bodies change, our lives change, not only because of choice and possibilities, but also, and this is a big part of it, because of our desires, what we really, really want. And most of us forget that we are allowed to have desires, any desire. No desire is bad or good, it's just what we want, right? And so many are not allowing themselves to want something that's out of that, what they perceive right now. And I found it so interesting. This class started as the alchemy of the body and was like that for a couple of years. And then we saw we had to add something to it, because the mind plays such a big role in our lives. It's not only the body, it's not only the being, it's also the mind that has to be reprogrammed. And so we renamed the class because we just saw the bodies are willing to change, but the mind so often is stopping that.
So yeah, so this is where we're working from. This is where we're coming from. It's really just choosing.
Yeah, and it's like really observing how changes happen in class or in sessions, right? Greg working on the body and at the same time talking to the person. And he sees energy, so he could really see where the mind is stopping everything that the body tried to do. And this was then when we said, okay, we can't just do body process, we can't just do body work. We have to really address the mind so that the mind is allowed to change, and we help the mind to change so that the mind then will allow the body to change.
And we're in all of the modalities that we've all studied, I'm sure you've all done access consciousness and a few others. They all talk about choosing. And we all think that we can just choose once. Well, this is what it always appears to me, is that people choose once and then wait for it to happen. And it's not about that. This is about choosing every day. This is about choosing 2 and 3 times a day the same thing, reminding yourself that this is what you've chosen, so that you can then change the program in the mind. This is about, it's like learning when you're doing judo and karate and stuff, you learn to punch, and you punch and you punch and you punch until you no longer have to think about it. It becomes automatic. And it's the same with when we want to change something within ourselves or our body, we have to keep repeating the exercise until we have changed our mind, our mindset, our beliefs, our conclusions that we made as little children. Yeah, most of the stuff that controls us as adults, we decided when we were younger than 8 years old. And we're
then, of
still
course,
not. Yeah.
And of course, this is reinforced because we had this experience. We had a conclusion about something, and from that, we developed a strategy for life. And this conclusion gets reinforced because it's still our belief. So it happens again and again. So this little conclusion that you made as a child gets reinforced. And so your mind is programmed with that. And this is what we want to change, the programming. So you have to make different choices. You have to think different thoughts. You have to do different things so that the mind feels comfortable with the new program, so that it wouldn't block anymore what the body would like to change or what the being would like to change.
So Greg and Gami, for me, when each time I've met you, what's been really inspiring is that not only your invitation to changing the program in the mind and changing the body, but you're also an invitation to looking at things that seems to just be impossible. And then you just show that just by choosing it, suddenly something that I had assumed was impossible just by magic just happens. So it's almost like when I watch you, it's like nothing is impossible. Like even things that in theory shouldn't be possible become possible. This is really, like, that's what's really blowing me away with all of that.
Yeah. Hang on a second, just carry on talking, Gabi.
Yeah. So for me, a big part of that is I know that nothing else exists than my imagination. So everything that there is my reality. I created it, right? So if I believe that something is not possible, it is not possible. And as soon as I really know that something is possible, it is possible. So my thoughts, even my feelings, my emotion, they create my reality. So I have to, this is why we have to change the mind to be able to let go of the limitation that our mind has set and think beyond that. I really say think beyond that, because first you have to think it, and then you have to imagine it, and then you have to do the actions that lead to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So many modalities teach us that we have to lose our minds. Destroy the mind, it's a dangerous thing. This is the crazy bit. The mind is a very useful tool. It's a bad master, yes. But if you are able to use your mind to create things, to create an image, create a feeling, create a sense within the body then helps to create that. And this is where we get confused. This is where we get lost. I mean, I never saw myself not walking. And I use my mind to keep me in that position of always walking, of being able to have balance, of being able to play with my children and my grandchildren. I never stopped seeing that in my mind. And now my wheelchair is somewhere in New Zealand, but I have no idea where. So, you know, there's nothing that's impossible. And what happens is then when you start to use your mind to create what you know is possible, then you can start to look at what is considered impossible or beyond possible and into the inconceivable. And you can start to create from there. Believe me, I mean, look at me. For most of my friends, I'm living what was considered 5 years ago is totally inconceivable that Greg Bryers would have money in his pocket, let alone be living in Europe, let alone teaching classes. But it was something that I was willing to keep seeing in my mind, keep creating, keep asking for, and keep asking what else is possible. You know, so we've got this crazy Kiwi wandering around Vienna and Austria and Germany and Paris and Hungary, you know. So what else is possible? What's possible for you? I really like what Paulo Coelho puts in his The Alchemist book. You really want to read it. It's an amazing book. And don't read it just as a light story, but actually ask, what is in here? And he talks about everybody has a personal legend that we've known since we were young. And then at some point in our lives, we decide it's no longer possible and we let go. And that personal legend is that personal story, that dream, the desires that we've always had. And but at some point we decide, oh no, and we let it go. The alchemy classes are really about an invitation to start dreaming again, start creating again, and start being who you truly be. And it's letting go all of the other, you can't do this, you can't do that, and looking at where they come from. In an example, I'm called a Maori. I'm Maori. I'm Irish. I'm Norwegian. I'm all of that shit. But I grew up being told, you're just a dumb Maori from the King Country. Get out and get a real job. My father got told, you're just a dumb Maori from the King Country. Get out and get a real job. In other words, work with your back and your hands. My grandfather got raised, you're just a dumb Maori from the Hokianga. Get out and get a real job. But when I was growing up, I knew something else was possible, and I knew something else was coming. And I've always been looking for that, and I've always known that I would be teaching. Now, I could have let go of that dream, and I did several times, but I kept being shoved back into that dream. What is the dream that you guys have forgotten? What is it that you have let go of? What is it that you really want? What is it that you know is possible? What is it you know is possible with your bodies? Yeah.
And you know, you don't have to find a why or a justification for your desire. Like, oh, I want to travel around and teach because then I can change people and then I can change the world. You don't need that. You don't need a justification for why you want something.
No.
It's just desire that you feel, and this is the only reality, and this is where you go to. It's allowed to have any desire, any wish, any want, any longing, because this is the motor that drives you. And if you shut down that motor, it's like you start the dying process, and then you're not able anymore to create something outside your box that you're already in. You need your desires to get that drive to move forward, to have more happiness, more joy, more peace.
You start living your life as an impoverished being.
Yeah. And so many of us really have forgotten that they are allowed to have desires. I can't say that often enough. And then when they look at their desires, they judge them. Oh no, this is not worth it. Oh no, this doesn't help anybody. Oh no, this is just play, right?
Yeah, well, I'm getting up by myself.
Yeah, so this is really in the class. We would like to have the class to be the invitation for you to thrive. And we use all the tools that we have to support you with that. And of course, it requires from participants to really be willing to look at what they want, what they really want, and not judge that.
And that's part of what we do. We spend time, and it's like visualizations and meditation, blah, 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 and even just asking questions.
Yeah. And we do the body process, of course, right?
That's boring.
I know. This is such a gift because when you start to be relaxed, when your body lets go, your mind doesn't have that many barriers up. So it's more willing to get out of the comfort zone and look at something that you've never looked before at. So it's this combination between the body work and the reprogramming of the mind by telling yourself a new story. This is really what makes the classes fun.
Yeah. And it's not magic. This is just who we all are. Really. And if you feel your bodies right now, you can feel them. They're all going, there's an excitement, there's a joy, there's a bubbling that just, it's like, yes, I want this. Excuse me a minute. The stepdaughter wants to go outside.
Yeah. So because we are the only ones in the house that are awake right now, my boys are still sleeping, so nobody's going to open the door for the house. So Ted has to do that.
Are you going to?
So, are there any questions?
I have a question, Gabby. So what I since the last Zoom, I've been playing as well with the imagination and allowing my dreams and desires and wishes. And sometimes I feel it's almost like the mind is having some kind of a fantasy, but the rest of me is not quite following. Like the body's, there's something in the body telling me, yeah, no, you know, you're just crazy. That's not possible. That's not going to happen. So it's almost like there's needs to be some kind of unlocking from the body as well. What I'm saying, I don't know how to explain because it's just a kind of a little bit, it's almost like there's a lack of congruency.
Yeah. And Gwen, is it your body telling you it's not possible, or is that the mind?
It's the mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Because for the body, there's actually not much that's impossible.
But it's a good question because really there's a difference between like daydreaming, right? These fantasies, or that desire that comes from within, right? So I can sit down on my couch and close my eyes and then imagine a wonderful life. Nothing will happen. So if you imagine, so this imagination thing, this is happening all the time. We imagine stuff all the time, conscious or unconsciously, right? And always there's the body involved, because if it feels like that, when you think about it, it feels real. And you know, if your body is involved, your body gives you the information, oh, that's real. If you just sit there and daydream, your body's not involved. So all your senses have to be involved when you go into that imagination thing. Just when you imagine something horrible happens, you feel your body react. Your adrenaline or your tummy, you feel it in your body when you imagine something horrible. And it's the same with the things that we really want. As soon as we think about them, see them, our body gets excited, right? So this is the difference between just daydreaming or like creating fantasies or really feeling it real, that what we want. Or what we not want, because, you know, when we imagine horrible things, we feel it real as well, often.
There's a really cool book Gabi introduced me to. There's a series of 3 books. Jed McKenna. And it's in his Enlightenment series. There's 3 books. And in book 2, he's talking to a young teenager. And this is what he says as a commentary. This is about a boy who says, I want that. He's decided he wants something in his life. He says, if Curtis really wants this, it will really occur. But the kind of wanting required is the kind that starts in the mind, moves to the heart, and then reaches out from the center. It takes time, and it can be as much a pull toward one thing as a push from another. And this is where, when we start to really desire something and to create something, we take it in from our mind, we've visualized it, we've imagined it, and we take it into our body. And then from our body, we really ask for it to come with every cell and every fiber and every emotion that we have. And when we start to do that, there's nothing you can't create, really.
Yeah. Because look at so many people that are out there in the world. They have money, they are happy, they live a wonderful life, and they never obviously used any tools. And then there are so many people that use the tools all the time and asking questions and going to that class and to the next class and doing another modality, and they still don't have money. So what is that? This is something really interesting to explore. What's the difference between those people who just make it and others that have to struggle with it their whole life?
May I talk a little about what I did the last years? So I think the last 10 years I have a plan for my further life, and I'm still trying to find a plan B. First, I have to when the plan B is settled up and it's strong enough, then I can make my plan A. So the real thing. I think the most people, they want to have some kind of secure in the background, and so then they can plan their life, or can start to make the plan A, what they really want to do. And I think the last weeks I throw it in the trash can, the plan B, and start to live the plan A. What it's never mind. My mind says you need a background. I don't know.
When this happens, then I'll be able to do this. This is.
I start throw all that stuff away. What your mind thinks, what you have to need, what you need, and start to live.
Yep. Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Well done, Harald. Harald was in a group with me for 12 days now, where we met every day. So, cool.
Claudia, you have been in the alchemy classes. Can you say a little word to the ladies? No? Please, I beg you. No, I don't beg anybody.
She's not a morning person.
I never talk. Well, for me, it's so interesting to see the other people change in the classes. When they come to the classes, they just, well, some of them are really afraid to say what they want. They even don't know what they want. But during the classes, they start to realize that they have desires and they can create, and they allow themselves to create something and start something new. They didn't allow themselves to even think about. So they really start to bloom. They change within 1 day or 2 days and look completely different. Yeah. And then you see them a little bit later and see how they changed, and that they feel better, they look better, they just are more happy, and they start to create what they really want. Even if it's small steps, it's not always the fast way, but they take their own pace, just like they want to go for it, and they know that it will happen, and they really now know that it will happen. And that's really amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so often people really, what they want is being healthy. Yeah, so for many people that have struggles with their body, problems with their body, this is the wish. I just want to be healthy. This can also be the biggest desire you have, or I don't know, whatever. I want to feel peaceful in my life. Whatever it is, again, it's your desire. You don't have to judge it or have to measure it against the desires that other people have. So this is the cool thing, to really be clear. This is what I want. This is what makes me happy. This is what I require. This is what I go for.
Just do it and try. And maybe when you fail, you can separate it from and make it a little different, and then just go this way. That's the best. Don't get a net when you in case of fall down, and that you have a net, that you have a plan B. So
Yeah.
I don't care. I worked for more than 10 years for the plan B now, and it doesn't. It's not strong enough, and and it changed. That plan B changed. The area around me has changed a little, and then I have to follow that. And never. I think I can't never settle up, and the plan B is not strong enough for the next 5 or 10 years. I don't get this. So start to make the real thing.
You have realized, Harald, that there is no safety.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You have no safety in your life.
No. The only safety is you.
Yeah. Start to have fun, what you like, what you have and live it.
Thank you, Harald. So are there more questions?
Okay, time to go. And I was like, oh, I have a question.
Louisa, you have been visiting the venue last week, right? Can you tell us something about this beautiful place? Because I haven't been there yet, but you have now. You're muted.
Hang on, I'm muted.
Where do I start? The venue is something quite outstanding, that as soon as you pull up onto the property is massive, it's expansive. It is on a gentle hill that keeps going up, and you are surrounded by a huge big olive grove, and then you emerge into a big winery, a big vineyard, and on your left is a big ocean. And it's the big Tasman Bay, and it's like the most calming sanctuary of all sorts of luxury, quaintness, sophistication, gentleness. God, every word under the sun that describes it. I wouldn't get through it today, but it is the most picturesque, beautiful place that I have ever been to. And where the class is going to be held is called the Beach House. For me, it is something like out of the Hamptons. And as you step into this beautiful place, you have the most amazing view out over the sea. And it is just so nurturing, and it's like, wow. And then when you step out, you're surrounded by olives. You can venture up into they've got beautiful accommodation, absolutely stunning accommodation. On one side, you're over this beautiful lake. The other side, you've got the ocean, and it's something out of this world. So if you're lucky enough, like me, to actually be going, yeah, you will definitely be very impressed. But Gabby, just to answer your question, where you were staying up in the main house. Now, the main house is something out of a movie. It has got every luxury you could possibly imagine. I walked in and I was just like, I had to keep my chin up off the floor. And the view goes right up to the Abel Tasman, which is one of our beautiful national parks, right up all around the mountains. And you go through this, it's all beautifully tiled, just wonderful sculpture everywhere. You walk out, beautiful infinity pool, spa, sauna, gorgeous combination all within the house. It's just beautiful. You look over the whole property, all the grapevines, the olive trees, the beach house, all of the other accommodation.
And the good thing is, Louisa, that class participants can stay with us in that house. We rented the house, and I think it has room for 12 people. So who wants to come to class can tell us who wants to stay with us in this beautiful house. And you know, the magic about it is, what do you think, how did we find this venue, this property? We didn't look for it. It was kind of gifted to us, not gifted like monetary, but we have to pay for it. But it's Emma's mom. So Emma, the sister of our wolfhound Morgan, owns that property. So I met Barbara, this wonderful lady, because she is Morgan's sister's mom. And we became friends very quickly. And then she told me, oh, and you know, I have this property in New Zealand, and so wouldn't that be nice for you to have a class there? And we said, yes. And so we have this, and it's near Louisa. I mean, how does it get any better, right? So the class almost created itself just by our hounds. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's stunning. Yeah, simply stunning.
Yeah, cool. So, Greg, anything you would like to add?
Not really. I mean, it's like I could talk for hours. I mean, I do all the time about the alchemy, but it's really, for me, the difference with the alchemy classes or the alchemy body processes, there is no point of view. You touch the body with no point of view, and it's just an invitation. There's nothing wrong, nothing's broken. Even when we decide we're going to look at a particular topic, there's still only an invitation. There's nothing that has to be changed. And this is really cool, because that's when you feel the body that you're touching let go, because there's no judgment. And it goes, and then you really get to say hi. And it's so cool. And we create a space to do this. And people say, oh, but what happens when I leave the class? I'm not going to have the space. Well, I'm sure Claudia will be able to tell you that that space doesn't go away. And I know probably hundreds of people now in Europe, they will say the same thing. That space doesn't go away. And
get goosebumps right now.
And it's a space that we all know. We were all born with this space. And so the alchemy class is really about reminding you of who you are, what you are, and how you be, how you can be. And really, it's what you know deep inside is possible. And we keep running in circles looking for something that's outside of us when it's actually within. And that's the most powerful tool on the planet. And it's within you, because it's you.
So what you're saying, Greg, is that we are not broken and we are not fucked up.
No.
And everything's just there and is what we desire to choose, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I know a certain French lady is quite fucked up, but you know, that's... No, actually, yeah, no, but isn't it amazing the space this creates? And then to watch the transformation that happens with people as they embrace that space within themselves. And it's been so cool to actually see people realize that they aren't fucked up, that they're just dealing with stuff that's not even theirs. It's been impelled on them by people around them. And when we stop trying to be what everyone else tells us we are, and start to be who we really are, this is when you will be the most powerful thing you know, regardless. And then you thrive. Then you have joy. Then everything else follows.
So do you mean we can't avoid being us anymore?
I'm sorry, no. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually seen people try. And there's been a couple of people that I've even offered the money back because they're totally resisting it. And one person took the money back, 2 people took the money back. And the third lady says, no, I want this, I want this. And then 2 hours later, there was such a transformation that she totally chose and let go of her shit and her story. That the rest of the class who were getting so fucked off with her just went, wow.
So many people avoid it. Otherwise, if they wouldn't avoid it, they would be it, right?
Yeah.
But this is what the mind does for us. It keeps us in our comfort zone because the mind's job is to keep us safe. And every time we want to go out of that comfort zone, the mind says, dangerous. And it's not a mean mind, it's just what it's designed for, to keep us safe. So that we have to know that. So every time when the mind feels, it's not safe, it tries to block us. So that's why we have to get over the mind.
And it's like everything. It comes from practice. I mean, Ed Hillary, if he first tried to climb Everest straight away, his mind would hear, you're stupid, you're an idiot. But what did he do? He conditioned his mind, he conditioned his body, and he practiced, and he started with the small hills, and then the small mountains, and then the big mountains, and then the biggest. And we can do the same. We start with the small things, and we slowly work up, and the mind goes, oh, that didn't hurt. Oh, that didn't hurt. Oh, that was fun. And so suddenly what happens is our mind gets used to exploring new things. It gets used to creating new things. And it does it from the safety of the space. And it's so cool. It is so very fucking cool. Yeah.
Are you allowed to say fucking in New Zealand?
Only when we're pissed.
Just.
It was really...
Remember the first class that we had in New Zealand, and I used the word fucking, and everybody looked at me in total shock.
Yeah, but then they all giggled because, it sounded so cute coming from Gabi. And after that, nobody even noticed when she swore. It was kind of cool. But yeah. So, yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming on the call. We've got 3 more, I think. So if you follow Louisa and Gwen, and they'll let you know when the next one's on. And, yeah.
And if anybody would like any more information, you can contact me directly, and I can send further information through to you. And please join us. We've got 3 more Zooms coming up, and those are, just one moment. We have one coming up on the
23rd of January.
Yep,
that's right.
And then one on the 31st.
January.
One on the 31st.
And the last one on the 7th.
Yep.
And the last one is the class, the 16th and 17th, right, of February.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. The last Zoom, the 7th, is just before we get on the plane. So
don't come early and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the water and enjoy the views or anything like that.
No.
Don't waste your time before the class. You could even hop in a kayak and go out in the beautiful Big Bay and
be chased by orca.
And the water temperature is 26 degrees, Barbara told me, at the moment.
Yeah, it's incredibly warm, beautifully warm.
Oh, I'm looking so forward to it.
So cool.
And then you can cool off in the pool afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Desalinate.
Okay.
Cool. So hang on, this chat thing's going on.
That's from Anna. Yeah, sure, Anna. I'll send that through to you now. I've just sent some through to Maureen, and I'll send it through to you as well, Anna.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, cool. So thank you, Louisa. Thank you, Gwen. I'm so looking forward to meeting you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you too, and we look forward to your next Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And we look forward to seeing you in 5 weeks.
Yep. So to all my Kiwi friends, pomare, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. And to the German friends we've got on, thanks for coming. It's really cool. And we'll see you soon. Oh, Austrian. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll upload the
Bye-bye.
link as soon as it's ready. Bye.
Thank you. And it'll be posted to the Zoom, to the event.
Yep.